Hey, welcome to my channel. My name is Helen Millar and this is Head to Heart Living. Now, how to live a life less from fear and more from love. And right now on the planet, especially I'm in the UK, loads of people are really scared about bills. They're scared about money. They are scared about job security. They might have, it doesn't really matter how much money you do or don't have. There's a lot of fear in the collective consciousness right now about lack. And I'm going to unpack to you in this video my 7 top tips for how to work with divine feminine energy to overcome all those fears and those blocks and to really shift things. And this is hopefully going to be some real aha moments for you, where you realize what you're doing that's actually self-sabotaging your ability to move through this sense of low-level fear, panic, or maybe some real, very tangible struggles. And by looking at these 7 top tips, you're going to be able to make some real quick changes starting today, starting in the morning when you wake up, about how you can move your life forward. Because essentially, without cutting to number tip 7 already, there is no difference between us and money. Money doesn't really exist. When you start to look into fiat currency, everything is a promise that you will pay somebody, but the money you're actually giving is a promise. And then if we're looking at digital currency, it's not backed by gold anymore. So it's essentially made up. So money is a myth, and there's some really good documentaries online you can watch about this, which is always helpful to remind yourself, because we can get, and I'm talking from experience here, we can get really bound up and fearful and frustrated and not enjoying being alive when we focus too much on how much money we feel like we don't have or we need. Thank you for the thumbs up. Thank you for joining me live. And of course, if this does resonate for you, if anything I'm saying, you're like, yes, I think that too, or thank you, please reflect that energy by hitting the thumbs or clicking the thumb. Don't hit your thumb. Liking and subscribing, and especially sharing this to anybody who is going through the mill at the moment. Maybe they hate their job, maybe you do, and you feel like you can't leave because you feel like there's no other way for finance to come to you, etc., etc. So this is what this video is here for. This is made after I've been doing quite a lot of readings for people this week and coaching and looking into what's coming up for them. And feeling it myself, like in the collective consciousness, there is a real contraction in the solar plexus, which is that bit between the ribs, really tightness about our ability to create. Okay, so tip number 1. Focus. What are you focusing on? Are you focusing on how expensive everything is becoming in the supermarkets? How your favorite jar of kimchi is suddenly 20p more than it was last week? Or, your organic chickpeas have suddenly gone up £4 overnight? Are you focusing on that? Are you focusing on, what you can't afford, what you can't get access to anymore, or that what you feel like you shouldn't be expending, like, or suddenly that subscription feels a little bit decadent? What are you focusing on? Or are you focusing on, that lovely person who gave me the free coffee because they made the wrong order for somebody else? Or isn't it amazing that that, I don't know, like that portion in that restaurant was extra large, so I got takeaway and had it for lunch the next day? Or isn't it amazing that the trains run on time rather than only focusing on when they run late? Like, where is your gaze? Because, like the cup half empty, half full analogy, how we perceive the world is where, energy flows where our focus goes, right? So if you're constantly, and this relates to everything, and the reason I'm going to draw lots of analogies that aren't just financial is because, as I've said, money doesn't exist. It's energy. It doesn't exist apart from us. So where we're focusing is where we're either creating block and lack and dis-ease and discomfort and disapproval, or where we're focusing on flow and gentleness and abundance and the miraculous and the magic and the joyful and the uplift. So if you knew that in 3 weeks' time you were going to win the lottery, or you were going to get a huge amount of inheritance, or you were going to get a bonus, or all these sort of different ways that money could come to you, would you still be feeling how you're feeling right now about your financial situation? Probably not. So when we start to think like that, it's a real indicator of where our focus lies. Is it on the bad thing in the future that hasn't happened yet? Or is it on the solution that is more magnificent than you can possibly imagine that's coming around the corner? And now you think, oh, that's really naive. It's only naive because we live in a society, in a world full of programs about the fearful thing, the monster under the bed. Mainstream media is like the oil that makes the cogs turn is fear. That's what they use to sell. Disaster images. I mentioned in one of my other videos how attacked I got on a social media platform because they showed a photo of the 1970s weather forecast, the same temperature, and these days. And in the 70s, map of the UK with sunny, happy faces, 34 degrees, way happy face. And now it's like black, red, black, red, black, red, warning signs. Okay. Same temperature, same experience on the planet, same piece of land, different message, right? Different message. So it's the same thing right now. It's the same thing with everything. Are you thinking that it's going to get worse and worse and worse? In which case, that is the future that you're energizing. Where we focus, energy goes. Where we focus, energy goes. Going to repeat this so that you start to think about it. I'm getting so excited, I'm bashing my ring. That this is the same. It's the same in the universe. It's the same in the collective. And it's the same in our mental dialogue. You look at the work of Joe Dispenza, Greg Braden, both amazing people on the planet right now. Where we allow our thoughts to go, they create little neural pathways, little rivulets. Like if you think of water going through rock in the same place again and again and again, it creates a ridge. It's the same in our brain. We keep on thinking the same thoughts. The second we see something fearful about money, our thoughts just fire off in that direction because that's where they've always gone. So if you were raised to believe that you were going to be poor, or that it was very difficult to get rich, or very difficult to make money, or to move up from the conditions you were born in, this is the reality that you're going to keep on living unless, and you can change, because I've certainly changed, unless you change the thoughts you think. And it takes work. And then it's done, because then you create new neural pathways and all your thoughts flood down that route instead. And the second you start to feel fearful again, you can go, oh, where have I been watching news? Where have I been spending too much time with negative people? Not that I advocate spiritual bypassing, but we are a result of our environment. And if we surround our environment with people who constantly bring us down, who absorb our energy, who constantly lean, and it's not a two-way street, of course we support people when they're down. Of course we help out friends. But if your entire environment is toxic, if your entire environment is surrounded by people who are complaining or belittling or moaning all the time, that's going to bring you down. Okay? So top tip is, what are you focusing on? Getting really clear and being really honest with yourself about what stories you're telling yourself. And number 2 comes straight on from this, is fear or love, okay? My first ever YouTube video, which was nearly 2 years ago next month, and I've done one every week, at least one every week since then, it was all about fear or love, and how this is the basis of understanding where your life is headed. Because as Nichiren Buddhism teaches, if you want to know what's going to happen in the future, look at the causes that you're making today. So are you, focusing on a fearful living, or are you focusing on a loving living? And that doesn't mean being reckless. That doesn't mean being irresponsible. but it means, are you thinking, yeah, more money is going to come. I love money, so more will come to me. But I understand the cycles of nature. So I understand, in the same way there are different seasons, in the same way there are different tides and different phases of the moon, there are different points in my life where abundance and less will flow, because that is how I understand, in this polarity universe, what the different states feel like. And it doesn't mean that it has to be, huge, like I have to have loads of little, but it's just, sometimes it might be slightly tighter and other times it might be slightly looser in terms of the flow. So it's about saying, yeah, I have lots, and I'm going to put a small amount away, like acorns, you think of squirrels, for when winter's here. So then I don't need to worry. So then I'll still feel and experience having abundance. It just doesn't matter if there's not enough as much coming in. And it's the same, it depends whether it's fear or love, because the same action could be, I'm going to put so many acorns away, but I'm going to put them away because I don't want anyone else to get them, because I don't want the bank to lose them all, because I don't want, and that energy is fearful, right? That's a contracted energy. So it's not about what, I'm not telling you what to do. I'm not giving you financial advice, certainly not. But the energy with which the actions you take, check in with yourself. And I do this like I'm crypto or whatever, it's not my favorite thing, but I'm in it. And I sort of put on my to-do list, do X, Y, Z with crypto. And I might put it off because it's not my favorite thing. And then I might go, oh, right, I'm going to do that crypto thing. And I have to check in with myself, because if I've got myself into a fearful state, and that's why I'm suddenly thinking, oh, take action, do crypto. If that energy is coming through fear, that's not the best place for me to make that decision and make that choice from. If I see something and think, oh yeah, that's a good reminder to get on my crypto, or get on my banking, or get on my invoicing, or whatever it might be, then it's like, oh great, I can't wait to see what results this brings in. I can't wait to educate myself a bit more so I can bring my energy field a little closer to that of crypto and see what magic can happen. This is all the mindset. And thanks for putting it live chat. And those of you who are live with me, thank you. Welcome. Feel free to comment in the chat. I love seeing live interaction here. And Nick's just said, realized recently that all my bad decisions were fear-based. Yeah, they generally are. The things that we do out of pure love and joy, even if they don't necessarily go in the direction we want, we generally don't regret the decision, because they lead to other experiences that we appreciate having, whether they were quite what we expected or not. So that's the second one. First one, focus. What are you focusing on? Second one, are your actions then coming from fear or love? Third solution or tip is gratitude, right? The key to the universe, as somebody said before me, or maybe that's me, don't know. Anyway, gratitude, lots of people harp on about it because it's so true. It's so true. Whenever I'm feeling angry, or, just like, oh, and she did this, or blah, blah, blah. It's because I'm focusing on what I don't like about my life, or what I don't want to be happening, or the bits of a friend that annoy me, or the bits of a partner that annoy me, rather than, Nick said he just tuned in and I'm talking about exactly what's on his mind. Thanks, Nick. Well, this video is me tapping into the collective consciousness. 2 hours ago, I had no idea what tonight's video would be about, but I obviously picked up on the wavelengths. So when I am irritated in my head, if my thoughts of my neural synapses are firing off into grrr land, it's because I'm not thinking about gratitude. Now, nobody lives like Pollyanna, skipping around, thanking the rainbows all the time. And it's important that we don't spiritually bypass the denser emotions, because we're here to feel everything. But once you get clear on the fact that you aren't happy, and you realize what the radio station of your monkey mind is blasting, then you're like, right, well, I've had enough of this music. I've had enough of feeling fearful about what's going to happen in October or XYZ. If you want to switch it, gratitude is the key, right? Because if you're watching this you've got an internet connection. That is something to be grateful for, right? Because the amount of knowledge and information. Thanks, Luke. Good to see you in the house. Love, love to Luke and Ireland, if you're still there. What are you're looking at what you haven't got rather than what you have. Glass half full, half empty. We always have things to be grateful for. Even if you're working with grief or a breakup or, all grief really is a frequency that shows us it's proof. It's like the brownie badge or the button on our bag, to use an Americanism, like that shows us we've loved. We grieve for what we no longer have, and we only miss things that we wanted, right? So that in itself is like gratitude you had that experience, and also acceptance and not everything lasts forever. And I won't go on and on about gratitude, because when we feel it, we know it, right? It's magical. I had it just now. I had a lot of time online today. It was beautiful weather outside. I had lots of work to do because I'm about to jump into doing lots of festival work. I'm running cacao ceremonies and things at festivals. So I'm trying to get all of my admin work done. And eventually I got in the sea at about 5:30, but it kind of got cold and windy. And I was like, oh, I should have swam earlier. I should have reordered the day. But the second I got in the sea, I was giggling out loud by myself. I was splashing. I was, laughing at all the waves that were like whacking me in the face because it was so windy. And I was just deeply grateful for the experience and how fun it was, right? There's just, the sea itself is just great fun. And I'm just gratitude for living by the sea. And sometimes I whinge at how cold I get down here or whatever. But when it's like that, I just switch into gratitude, right? Lock those memories away for when it's the winter months. Right. Next thing, number 4. And this really builds on the other things. That solutions, and this is why we're moving now more into divine feminine energies. This video is spoken about exactly 1717. Divine feminine energy. First of all, I'm going to break down what the divine masculine, divine feminine energy is. We all have these energies inside us. We have been living in a patriarchy for thousands of years. This doesn't mean that men or women have necessarily been having a better time of it. This is an imbalance in the energy fields. So if we all have masculine and feminine energy inside of us, patriarchy is prioritizing and valuing the masculine energy over the feminine energy. So this is why, yes, we've had female leaders in the political stage. We've had Margaret Thatcher or Hillary Clinton or whoever, but they don't, and then those people have not been embodying feminine energy. They have been embodying masculine energy, because masculine energy is very task focused. It's very action orientated. It's very much about power. When it's out of balance, it's about power over rather than power with. And it is about doing. So this is why when you get a fearful trigger, you start going into action. So this is when you're in your masculine. So it's like, right, there's going to be a using example from 2020. Something's to be scared of. We're going to go and buy all the toilet paper in the world, or, stock up on all the food. Like we go into like fight or flight mode, and we go into, we're going to fight mode more than anything. If you think about that masculine is taking action, right? Feminine. Thanks for the comments, Luke. I won't check in just yet because I'm losing my track. Feminine energy is about intuition. It's not about like sitting down and strategizing and using the mental body. It's much more about feeling into what is the best thing to do. So, there's a scary thing outside. What do I need to do? I want to cocoon everybody inside. Or I want to go out and make sure the neighbors are okay. Or I'm feeling into the need to actually go and be in nature. So let's all get in the car and go. It's like it's feeling into what is the right thing at that time through the non-linear. And the thing is that takes a lot of trust, because you can't Google or DuckDuckGo or whatever. You can't search online for what is my intuition telling me right now, because it is unique to each of us. And this is why fear is so dangerous, because we don't feel safe. And we don't feel safe, we don't trust ourselves. And then as soon as somebody says, I have the solution, do this, we follow them because we want to be safe, rather than really listening to ourselves. And the divine feminine energies, when we really listen to ourselves. So again, this is not about being a man or a woman. This is about these two energy fields that run through everybody. And when we can listen to them, then they become stronger. And because we've lived in a patriarchy that has valued the action and the doing and the linear and the left brain processing, the logic and the structure, that is why we haven't learned to really trust ourselves. That's why so many people do not feel safe to stand up to what the collective is doing, or what the group majority think is, or the mentality. And that's also why people who do get attacked very often. That's also why people who go against the grain, walk the path less traveled, are shunned, or condemned, or laughed at, or ridiculed, because what they're doing is holding a mirror up to that aspect of us that we're not listening to. Like, before I stopped drinking completely, when I was doing dry January every year, when somebody who normally drank quite a lot of alcohol, so many people, friends, was like, oh, come on, have a drink, come on, have a drink, come on, have a drink. Because I was holding up a mirror to the fact that they weren't drinking, not verbally, but that's what that is inside them. And it's the same with this self-trust and going intuitively. People say, well, why did you do that? Well, it just felt right for me. But how do you know? Because that's what my body was telling me. But why? Because I was listening to myself. But the news says, well, that's them listening. Whoever's saying that's listening to their voice, right? Their intuition, or, and this is why coming back to ourselves, this is why process of meditation or breath work or movement, or whatever your practice is, whether you call it a spiritual practice or not, a religious practice or not, your practice or time that you spend where you're with you, doing you, listening to you, being with you, following you, is so sacred. And this is why I'm going to talk now about divine feminine ways of looking at money, because that's not about, oh, who's got the lowest interest rate. That's the masculine version. That's logic and structure. Okay, so done gratitude. Number 4, the focus that solutions are coming, even though you can't see them. Okay. All right now I might just have lost and I'll give you an example of this. 2020, lockdowns happened, self-employed, all my work was cancelled for the rest of the year. I rented a flat and sublet the other bedrooms. Both my flatmates came from abroad, so left the country. I was responsible for their rent. So my rent trebled overnight, and I had suddenly no income, and work that I had booked that cancelled, didn't pay me. And so it just sort of went whoop. And because I've always been self-employed, I've never had a constant financial flow. So it's not like I had reams of, assets and things to draw on. So this was a time for me to either go into complete fear and panic, which I did occasionally, but majority of the time I sat into, well, I have a strong relationship with the universe. I've been doing a lot of work on cultivating my, feminine energy. And I trust this is happening for a reason. And I trust that things will change. And I will take action and plant seeds and make inquiries, but I won't do any of that out of fear or panic or rush. And I will sow those seeds and then see what solutions come to me. I'm really interested and intrigued about how this is going to unravel, how this is going to unfold. So how can we have that curious energy whilst listening to ourselves and making time for things to drop in, to allow our relationship with the divine, the mystic, the unseen aspects of the universe to flow? Because if we don't make any space for miracles to happen, it's really difficult for them to happen. If we have everything planned out, Where's the room for the magic? Magic is so fun. So fun. Okay. So know the solution is coming. Then you allow that's like putting magic fertilizer on the grass that the solution's coming. Not that I'm going to build the solution, but I have the potential to create anything I want. And so, universe, show me how to create it. Not the universe does the how, you just know what. Okay. So again, that takes us back to point number 1, focusing. What are you focusing on? What is it that you want? Okay. So solutions coming. Number 5, as I said right at the beginning, money doesn't exist apart from you. So when we get into fear and contraction, and I've spoken about this in other videos, our thought process, it's like that thing, we don't see the wood for the trees. Our thought process becomes really particle. It becomes really choppy. And if I put this much here and that much there, and then that's $4.99, and I cancel that prescription, and that's $7.99 more a month, and then that's like totally like fractured thinking, right? Well, the feminine energy, we want to be in wave form, which is how the universe works in waves, sound waves, light waves, waves of the sea. We're mainly water, right? These waves of love, like waves of joy, we live in waves, right? When we're in coherence, we live in waves. And when we are, oh, thanks, Trevor. Glad it resonates. And when we are not in wave form, in particle form, that's where, like, if you look at disease or you look at illness under microscope, that is all incoherent. That's chaotic. So the more that we can ride waves and be within waveform, the more answers and solutions can come. And if you think about like feminine movement, divine feminine energy, that the movement is the energy in motion. It's the energy being embodied. And it's very fluid, right? You think about belly dancing or pole dancing or anything that is very divine, like that, and even that sexual energy, right? That kundalini, that life force. It is snake-like, it is wave-like. So the more that we can allow our thoughts and things to flow, like we all talk about the flow state, that's fluid. So we want to be able to be fluid. We want to be able to allow our thoughts to be fluid. We want solutions to be fluid. So when your thoughts are becoming very staccato, very fractured, that's a total indication that you have moved out of your divine feminine energy. So money doesn't exist apart from you. So where are you becoming fractured and stuck? If things aren't flowing financially, where aren't you flowing? Where maybe you've got problems with your children or problems with your work or problems with your boss or your relationship with food or your home, and there's some kind of stuckness or fracturedness or that you aren't resolving. And that then you're kind of like, oh, well, where's the money? There's suddenly got money problems. So or something that you haven't unresolved from your childhood, or you haven't been, maybe you've got a small nagging voice saying, you haven't coped with the fact that your parents split up when you were 14 and you've never healed that wound. It still exists as though it's present in your energy system, even though you might say, oh, it was 20 years ago, 30 years ago, 50 years ago. If you haven't spent the time to heal it, it makes no difference. Time doesn't really exist. So it's still present within you. And that might be, a gift to say, oh, look, you're losing all your money because you haven't dealt with this thing, because it's stopping you from being fluid. It's stopping you from being whole because there's a block, there's a gap, and things can't flow when there's a block or a gap. So it's really looking holistically at your life when money is an issue, about what else isn't flowing. And once you fix that, then very often the money will respond. I had a total response. I had a total example of this. I had a lot of things going wrong in my life. I was really, at the beginning of my spiritual awakening process, I had not been doing the work on healing. I'd blocked out a lot of my trauma. I didn't even know how to go about healing it. And about a year or so in, I just come back from doing such deep work in a plant medicine retreat in the Amazon jungle. And lots of the messages I got on that retreat were to basically just stop doing all these jobs that were like minimum wage, hand-to-mouth living, doing things I hated, getting up at the crack of dawn, handing out newspapers outside train stations, like the whole shebang. And it was like, stop doing everything that doesn't work for you, that isn't fun, that you're doing resentfully because you hate it and you resent the money because you don't feel like you're being paid enough. Stop all of it. So stopped all of it. I was broke. I was living on like £3 a day thinking, all right, universe, I'm doing it, but like, where's the cash? And then for about a month, I had to just live in trust and live in faith, being occasionally going into fear and then going, no, right, trust and faith. Then I suddenly got a TV job, this is when I was acting, that paid me £7,000 for 3 days work. Never had a job like that before. And within a few weeks of that, I got an advert that paid me £10,000. Never even had an advert before. So that was just extraordinary for me, and a total confirmation of what I'm talking about now. And all of these things I'm sharing are because of what I've lived. And I live with such extreme poverty consciousness. I only bought food if it was reduced. I went to all the supermarkets when I knew that, I didn't need to live as frugally as that, but I was so scared of money. I was so fractured in my thinking because of all this trauma, etc., etc. And so this is really, lived experience. And that's why I'm sharing it, because I hope it helps. And now I live in this beautiful apartment, and, it's something that I have. Being self-employed means that I constantly have to walk my talk and be aware of what's going on inside me. Right. Nearly there. Money doesn't exist apart from you. This is why you look at all the things. Number 6, help others. Help other people. When you feel that you need some help from the universe, come on, I could do with a money tree, could do with some mystery check in the post. Then when we start helping other people, we start to feel better about ourselves. It helps us get into gratitude. It helps us feel better about who we are as people. It raises our vibration. It puts more love pumping through us. And then that in itself becomes the law of cause and effect within the universe, so that more can come to you. And number 7, I'm actually going to change what it was. Number 7 is give what you want. So if you want more love in your life, give it to other people. So, if I want to meet a partner, how can I be more, warm and friendly and to the people I meet? Not that I'm leading people on or flirting with them, but just feeling that love that you feel when you're falling in love with somebody. And Luke saying spot on, I've been on similar. Thank you. And then if you want more money, where can you buy a friend a coffee? Where can you pick up a bunch of flowers for somebody? Where can you, give small things that allow you to realize that you have more than you think you do? Or take some things to a charity shop or a thrift shop, or, what can you do to give, which ties into helping others, to make you realize what you have? And it doesn't have to cost lots of money. You can pick some beautiful wild flowers. That you're giving things to make you feel like you've got them. I hope that helps. And I'll throw it in there as a bonus one. The one I was going to say as well is just, prayer and spiritual practice to make sure you can ask the universe to help you. You might call that God, you might call that angels, or your higher self, or your guides, or Allah, or Jesus, or whatever works for you. But I believe that what happens out here is a reflection of what's going on in here. We have all the solutions to everything in here. But yeah, we can definitely pray, but in whatever way that is, or meditate, or whatever your word is. But rather than please, like a child, please, can I have the bicycle for Christmas? Please, can I have Connect 4? Whatever it is. is I'm so happy, prayer. I'm so happy and grateful, universe, that this solution is coming. I'm so excited to feel the relief for when it's actually in my reality. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Or, higher self, me, the deepest version of me. Oh, I love the fact that I'm playing this game with myself about waiting until the answer arrives. I'm really excited and I'm pleased that it's coming soon. Thank you, thank you, thank you. That kind of prayer, right? That can really unlock things. Okay, 35 minutes. Let's call this a day. I hope these 7 top tips have helped. I hope explaining divine feminine energy and these different ways that are maybe less strategic and more trust-based and more personal-based are really going to help you unlock any issues that you have with money or any other, situation. These rules can be overlaid. So to recap, number 1 is focus. Number 2 is fear or love. Number 3 is gratitude. Number 4 is the solution is definitely coming. It's not getting worse and worse. It's getting better and better. Number 5 is money doesn't exist apart from you. So do the inner work. Number 6 is helping others. And number 7 is give what you want and prayer, gratitude, relationship with the universe. So those are the 7 tips. If you want more, I offer coaching one-to-one, which is a spiritual, holistic, deep dive, bodied coaching practice. I've been doing it in business since 2009, and I've been doing it with all the added extra knowledge I have through my healing journey for the last 10 years. So I love helping people get to grips to turn their lives around and embody more of who they truly are. If you want to know more about how I work, jump on a free discovery call below. There's no pressure with that. It's for me to see if I feel like I'm the right person to help you as much as vice versa. I also offer readings if you want to go, if you just want some, get out of your head and get some deep feminine energy flowing to understand more about a certain area of your life. And I have got a whole host of really exciting workshops, retreats, and events coming up through the rest of the summer and into the autumn that are up on my website now, including the weekly membership platform, which tomorrow is up, all for this Aquarius full moon, which is super powerful and tapping us in and connecting us to our deepest spiritual connection. So that's happening on Wednesday night. I would love to see you there. I would love to see you back on the video next week. And please like, subscribe and share if you feel this is helpful. And I will be back. Big, big love. Mwah. Mwah. See you soon.